It's like any other classroom, but it's located in a facility where every student shows up in a prison-issued khaki uniform, ready to put their criminal past behind them while redefining their futures. University of New Haven officials say that just over 20% of inmates receive some form of higher education in prison. But the Yale Prison Education Initiative defies those odds by offering Yale courses to men and women who are incarcerated and by advocating for higher education in 15 schools and prison systems across the country. Earlier in June, a ceremony was held for the first graduates of that initiative, partnered with the University of New Haven's prison education program. 7 inmates at McDougall Walker Correctional Institute earned associate degrees while serving a prison sentence inside the state's maximum security prison in Suffield, Connecticut. Joining me now is Zelda Rowland, the founding director of the Yale Prison Education Initiative at Dwight Hall and the director of the University of New Haven Prison Education Program, and Marcus Harvin, Yale Prison Education Initiative College to Career Fellow and a graduate of that inaugural class. It is an honor to have both of you on my show. Zelda, I'd love to start with you as a double Yalie, and by the way, Yale was my undergrad, and after more than 2 years of lobbying and prep, you launched this program in 2018, but I want my viewers to understand. The YPEI classes, they're just like the on-campus ones. There's no cakewalks. Same syllabi. Students are graded with the same rigor as if it was on campus, right?
That is absolutely right. And a lot of times our faculty will say that the most intense and most, the highest version iteration of these classes is actually happening in prison. The students are the most omnivorous, most ambitious students a lot of our faculty have ever met. And they want to keep coming back into prison because they challenge them, because they help their teaching on campus, because they help our faculty remember why they even came to teaching as a vocation or why they came to their field. So these classes are absolutely offered at the same level with the same expectations, the same rigor as courses on campus. But of course, our students don't have access to internet. So there are challenges that they have to overcome that the students on campus don't have to overcome. So in fact, they're in many cases harder, I would say, than the classes on campus.
Marcus, you've got 2 ID cards. One shows that you're a fellow at the Yale College, and the other shows that you're a parolee just released after 6 years in a maximum security prison. You've talked about how this initiative gave every participant their personhood after being used to being in a cage all day. What does this degree from Yale mean to you?
Well, first and foremost, thank you for this opportunity. And secondly, I have 3 IDs. The third one shows that I'm a student at the University of New Haven, where I received my associate's degree this past summer. This program means the world to me. It has literally afforded me the ability to return to society as if I never left it, and to return to society at a higher level or status than I had ever been before prison. I would never say that prison was a good thing, but I found a great thing in prison, and now greatness is before me.
Zelda, the next cohort of graduates, it's about the numbering in the 20s, I think it is. What are your hopes for that? I know that there's been an inaugural class that included Marcus. So what are you expecting, or what are your hopes for that next cohort?
Well, starting, last year's graduation kicked off what will be a fairly regular graduation of students from the AA degree program. And within the next year, we also anticipate our first bachelor's degree. We're only building this program more. Also, this graduation was at McDougall Walker, but in the last year, we also expanded our program to the Women's Federal Prison in Danbury, Connecticut. And we actually just found out this summer that we're currently offering the only college program available to any incarcerated women in any federal prison in the U.S. So we're hoping to expand that access for women in the federal prisons and expand at the Danbury site. We will have our first graduates also at Danbury this year.
Marcus, I know your grandmother just passed away in February of 2021, Sally Mae Harvin. We have to mention her because she was your inspiration. She told you, go back to school, get an education. She emphasized the importance of that for you. I read somewhere that one of your favorite books is The Death of Ivan Ilyich, and something that really resonated to you resonates with me. There's a phrase from that book, respice finum, which in Latin means consider the end. So considering everything that you've been through, Marcus, and by the way, to your point, prison's not good and nobody's giving a pass for what happened to you, but you've clearly taken a hold and decided to do something good for your future. What does the end look like for you as you begin this next stage of your life?
Yeah, well, at the beginning of my beginning, I see the end is going to look, it's going to look like a fairy tale. Though it might have been nightmarish in the middle, I believe that the end is going to be a fairy tale. I will end up being attorney Marcus T. Harvin, which my grandmother, that's what she pushed me to go back to school for, so that I can fight for those who need to be fought for, but don't have the wherewithal to afford that adequate fighting. So that's what the end is going to be. And it'll end up me one day pastor in this beautiful place I'm at, Pitts Chapel Unified Free Will Baptist Church, where I grew up in and have always aspired to lead. And I'm under the great leadership now, learning. So the end looks like me one day receiving the Nobel Peace Prize with Zelda in the audience.
Marcus, I got less than a minute, but I did want to ask, our viewers have seen images of that graduation that you just had in June. What was it like to have to go back to a prison from which you were released, a maximum security prison, but you walked in a free man at that time with an education? You walked in being able to hold the hand of your child and to be able to look out onto a sea of faces that were there solely in support of you.
I got to symbolize hope in a person. I got to be for my brothers what one day I hope they will be for their families, and that is hope that things will get better. I got to hug people that I cried with in prison, and to wipe tears of joy this time, to know that we've graduated, but we've also made it to another level, and that they'll see that one day they can be where I am. So I've just shown myself, I guess, to them to be someone that's making a way, a path paver. And I believe that I symbolized what the end is for those guys out here thriving. And thanks to Zelda and the rest of YPEI, it's been made possible for me.